What would be that 2 minute tip you'd say to someone, look, when you're considering agile and lean from what you saw and have written in the book, Learning to Scale?
Maybe reading the book will give you this is a tip. We try to explain how the business can use the TPS as a framework. And honestly, for the mental load that running a company represents, it's really useful because, as I think it's Benoit was saying, that having the TPS framework as a tool every day helps you understanding what's the next step and come back to the customer and the product. And my number one tip would be to be back to observe the customer and the product as often as we can, being on the Gemba and discuss customer product. This is number one, because the rest will derive from it. The customer issues, the problems we have to deliver, all this will come back.
That's great. Thank you, Catherine. So that absolute focus on the customer at the front line and learning constantly from the customer and do it from there.
Re-giving purpose and sense out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the piece of leading at the front, being at the Gemba from leaders to learn. Great. And Fabrice, what about yourself? If you had someone for a 2 minute tip and you're going, hey, when it comes to agile and lean, here's the tip I'd give for you to consider moving forward.
2 minutes is short.
Yeah.
But I think if you start somewhere, start with lean and Scrum and extreme programming and DevOps. I mean, so that's already a lot. But DevOps for me is what looks the most like an implementation of lean in the IT world. So if you have a team that does Scrum, adopts extreme programming practices, is very interested in DevOps and interested in lean, you're gonna have already like a good mix. But then what is also very interesting, like a tip would be, I think what the super successful tech companies have done, like Amazon and Apple and these kind of people, because they've got a very, very strong lean culture, and they've got a lot of their principles are lean principles. But one thing they do more than others, and that's also the case of Tesla, it's much more modular and modular designs and much more flexible designs in the design. And so typically Amazon is famous for having completely rewritten that big monolithic architecture. So Amazon.com was this like huge code base with a huge database, and of course they had reached a size at which any change was impacting so many other teams that everything was blocked. And they had the courage and they were the competence to at some point say, okay, we're going to restructure that into a service architecture with APIs, creating like a modular interface between these different services. And very interestingly enough, you look at that and you see how crucial it was in like Amazon's success. And then you see that again in Tesla. And I think that's one of the key things is Agile has brought this like I think engineering design talent to say, okay, sometimes some big problems, you can put enough intelligence to make them more modular. And once you've done that, of course, you have way more autonomy at scale. And one of the key sentences that is not known, so I'm like sharing it here, not known enough from Jeff Bezos is communication is not a feature, it's a bug. That's very interesting from this like agile mindset that says, you know what, one way to collaborate better is to not communicate and create the IT systems that make collaboration seamless. And that's, I think, is very new and very much from this like tech world and agile world, and very, very powerful in terms of scaling.
Yeah, seen that too, Fabrice. And you read the stories on Spotify and so many. It's the modularity of the product that allows multiple teams to execute on their piece without disrupting the others. It's a really powerful outcome, isn't it, when it comes to scaling and becoming an agile organization?